everyone. So in this video we will see the evolution of civil services in India. The civil services system was introduced in India by the East India Company for the benefits of its commercial affairs and got transformed into a well-structured machinery to look after the administrative affairs of the acquired territory in India. Cornwallis, as the Governor General from the years 1786 to 93, was the first to bring into existence and organize the civil services. He tried to check corruption through raising the civil servants' salary, also strict enforcement of rules against private trade, and debarring civil servants from taking presents, bribes, etc., and enforcing promotions through seniority. Cornwallis divided the civil services post into two categories. First was the convenant civil services, where the civil services are the higher post reserved for the British, and entire service with agreement. And the second category was the unconvenanted civil services, for the lower post for which Indians were recruited and no agreement was done for the hiring or the firing process. In 1800s, Wellesley set up the Fort William College for training the new recruits, and in 1806, Wellesley's college was disapproved by the Court of Directors, and instead the East India College was set up by Hillsbury in England to impart 2 years training to the recruits. Also, according to the Charter Act of 1853, the company's patronage was ended, enjoining the recruitment to be through an open competition henceforth. The Indians, however, were barred from higher posts from the very beginning, and the Charter Act of 1793 had reserved all the posts worth £500 per annum for the convenanted services of the company. There were several reasons for the exclusion of Indians, like the belief that only the Englishmen could establish administrative services serving British interests. Also, the belief that the Indians were incapable, untrustworthy, and insensitive to the British interest. Also, the fact that there was competition among the Europeans themselves for lucrative posts, so why to offer them to the Indians? According to the Indian Council Act of 1861, this act reserves certain offices for convenanted civil servants, but the examinations were held in England in English language and based on classical learning of Greek and Latin. In 1863, Satyendranath Tagore became the first Indian to qualify for the Indian civil services. During the year 1878 to 79, Lytton introduced the statutory civil services consisting of 1/6 of the convenanted posts to be filled by the Indians of higher families and through nomination by local governments, subjected to approval by the Secretary of State and Viceroy. But this system failed and was abolished. The Indian National Congress raised the demand after it was set up in 1885 for lowering the age limit for the recruitment and holding the examination simultaneously in India as well as in Britain. The Aitchison Committee on Public Services in the year 1886, set up by Dufferin, recommended that dropping of the terms convenanted and unconvenanted and classification of the civil services into Imperial India Civil Services, where the examination will be held in England, and provincial civil services, where the examination will be held in India, and the subordinate civil services examination to be held in India, and raising the age limit to 23. The Montfort Reform of 1919 stated a realistic policy that if a responsible government is to be established in India, the more Indians we can employ in public services, it will be more better. and recommended holding of simultaneous examination in India and in England. Also, one third of the recruitments to be made in India itself to be raised annually by 1.5%. The Lee Commission of 1924 recommended that the Secretary of State should continue to recruit the Indian civil servants and the irrigation branch of Service of Engineers and the forest services, as well as the recruitment for the transfer fields like education and civil medical services to be made by the provincial governments. It also recommended that the direct recruitment of ICS on the basis of 50-50 parity between the Europeans and the Indians to be reached in 15 years. Also, a Public Service Commission be immediately established as laid down in the Government of India Act 1919. And lastly, the Government of India Act of 1935 recommended the establishment of a Federal Public Service Commission and Provincial Public Service Commission under their spheres. But the positions and control and authority remained in the British hands, and the process of Indianization of the civil services did not put effective political powers in the Indian hands, since the Indian bureaucrats acted as the agent of colonial rule. With all these measures, the British government tried to maintain a smooth and a prosperous rule in their Indian colonies. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you. For more videos, please subscribe our channel.